War Machine. Listen to that. Oh my.
So this would be a DP1 and this is a DP2.
What's up guys, welcome back to another episode. Today we're at RMC Miami to visit our buddy Danny. They're collectors of old school JDM cars, exotic cars, European, a little bit of everything. Let's go say what's up. Danny, what's up my man?
What's up dude, how you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Likewise brother.
Thanks for having us out.
Absolutely man, welcome to the collection of boxes, you know. Yeah.
And I'm gonna pan over right now because I'm sort of freaking out like a kid in a candy store here. I'm seeing a lot of beautiful cars back there.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Yeah, we got from DPs to Skylines to high performance, German, Japanese, you know, whatever it is that you like. We got a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, man.
Here's a little bit of our Euro stuff. Similar mindset on what we like in the Japanese stuff. We originally started with Porsches and European cars, and I feel like this is probably one of the baddest air-cooled Porsches that we've owned.
I would definitely say this is probably one of the baddest old sport Porsches I've seen, man. This thing is so perfect.
Yeah, so this is the pinnacle of air-cooled, what they say, they call them outlaws. You know, because there's such a big difference in the Porsche community. You know, you could be like this purist guy that, you know, runs a toothbrush through his brakes before the car show, or, you know, you can be the guy that takes a $250,000 chassis and spends $450,000 building on top of it to just become the fastest air-cooled 911 or the craziest looking, or a mixture of both, which is what this is. This is 600 horsepower, 2,600 pounds. The intercoolers have been moved to the side like a newer 911, which is an extremely tedious job. It started life as a yellow 993 turbo, which is already like top dog factory Sunroof Delete, and then it's been completely turned into a GT2 Evolution essentially, but with a VIN number. So when the car was built, the guy basically, with the amount of money he spent, he could have just bought a real GT2 Evolution. But being from Japan, they like to drive their race cars on the street. So he had to have a VIN number. So the car's got a VIN number, but it's a GT2 Evolution. So it drives good, it drives like a factory car.
So this came from Japan?
Yeah, they sent it actually to the United States to build the car. So it went through 7 Auto, it went through Thurple, and then they sent it to the United States to build it. And so this was its final iteration. The owner passed about 4 years ago. I bought it from his son. There was $800,000 in records, according to the insurance company. A lot of things are lost in translation, and a lot of things are lost when the cars get shipped. You know, and a lot of records are lost when the guy passed, but he had the car insured for a crazy amount of money. So according to the records, he has $800,000 invested in the car. I don't think that would build this car today. The car speaks for it. There's so many little details on the car that are nuts, in my opinion, you know. And to most 911 guys just build big power, you know, and nice brake setup and suspension, but this is a super well thought out build from beginning to end. There's literally everything on this car. You could tell that it was a Porsche race team that has already done this hundreds of times. You know, the R&D done previously was, you know, really shown in this car and the way the car drives and the drivability. And then when you're on it, it's a roller coaster. So much time went into making the car drivable, on top of it being probably one of the fastest air-cooled 911s in Japan at the time, and probably today. You know, there's very few cars I think that could keep up with this car in any sense, you know, top speed, grip, and everything. I mean, final boss, 911, 993, bro.
We got to give the guys here a walk around because this thing is literally perfection.
So it's got GT2 aluminum doors, so they're extremely light.
Really light, huh?
Yeah, Club Sport spec roll cage, MoTeC M800 with a race pack. The shifter linkage has been moved from the bottom to the top. GT2 subframe, GT2 transmission, parts that are irreplaceable. Obviously, you can maintenance all of these items, but you can't. There's not enough money that can make this car. And then to put it together and make it work is also another task. I know, I've been building one. I got 200 grand in it, and these cars are really hard to build, you know? I mean, obviously Porsches come with a tax and everything, but like, it's tough, man. This is a whole different level of building a car, yeah. Like you can get in a GTR that's literally 20% the price and probably give it a good run for the money, but the experience of driving these cars there's a reason that people spend this amount of money on these cars, you know? Not me, but you know, somebody else that drove the car to Daytona, the car's been close to 200 with all the aero. You know, it's been 7-hour road trip there, 7-hour back for the 24 hours. Completely serviced at Champion. You know, they ate lunch under the car for 3 months. Tim at Champions, like this is the closest thing I've ever seen to a GT2 Evolution on the street. Every component from the uprights, subframe, brakes, everything tied together. He was in awe. Practice. I'm gonna put it on warm up so you can see all the vitals. So this is a boost from no boost, half a bar, 1 bar, so 7 pounds to almost 15 pounds. This is just a cycle of the dash. You just click through it, go through the warm up, race, and then practice. And then this is still unknown. I don't know what the hell it's for, to be honest with you. You got that electric power steering, you got pit mode, you got overboost function. All of these. It's got
it's very just raw in here.
Yeah.
Just the essentials.
The craziest thing is that the car, again, a car that era of racing died, so the car had a set of P0s on it. It was raised like 4 inches and it had mufflers on it with tags. Like, wow. They were just driving a full blown out race car on the street, just like this was their commuter, you know, like just jump on the Wangan, do like 120, you don't have to go crazy, you know, but just make a couple hits on the street and it's just a fucking machine to drive, you know. It was, you know, there's faster cars out there, but this is a whole different ballgame.
A whole different experience.
It's a whole different experience. Yeah, you're gonna. Hopefully, you'll get to experience it because it's.
I hope so, man.
It's a freight train.
And we got our AC right here.
Yeah, straight to your helmet.
Man,
you can rev it if you want. It's pretty warm. Yeah. It's really hard to get these cars to rev like that light. You know, there's lightweight flywheels, but. You know, obviously you have to balance crank to pulleys to flywheel, everything. You know, if not, eventually it just comes apart. To get the car to rev like a bike like that is an extreme amount of work.
Oh yeah, honestly, that's the best way to explain it. It feels like it's revving like a motorcycle.
Yeah, I mean, you have to knife edge the crank, you have to cross drill it, you know, a GT3 oil pump. You have to do a lot of crazy things to get to that, you know, and fortunately there's no docs. This is all told to me by the previous owner. But everything on the car says that it's true, you know. I wish that I had all the documentation. This be a fucking unlimited, I wouldn't sell it. It'd be a $500,000-$600,000 car. But for that reason, you know, somebody's gonna get a good deal because this is another broken record fucking over here, another irreplaceable machine, you know. Like, I don't think I'll be able to find one this well built with this amount of time gone into the car. And, yeah. There you go. So yeah, like, you know, 1,200 horsepower fuel rails for 600 horsepower. So this is all factory GT2 equipment. So this goes straight into the 935 style turbos. Charge pipes, like I said, the intercoolers have been moved to the front. So it leaves a lot of room for air to, since it's air cooled, obviously, I don't know, some people might know or not. The more air in, the fresher the motor runs. Usually the intercoolers are here. You'll get a full bay here. So moving them to the side, which is what Porsche did on like this body style. It allows a lot more fresh air to come in and to extract as well. So just nobody does it on these cars because to make a 962 style is like a lot of work. You have to relocate the oil system. And that's in itself, it runs on oil. It takes 14 quarts of oil. So imagine, it's a lot of big fat lines and tanks and catch cans and all these things you gotta really put a lot of thought into before moving around. It doesn't drive hard, which is so crazy to me, you know. Having the cage from shock tower to shock tower tied in, usually 911s make power and they lift the front end. You feel the front end get, you know, it gets a little light on the front end, never felt a 911 in my life that noses down on power. That tells me that they know what the fuck they're doing. Like, that to me is really insane. The cooling system is insane. I mean, even the rear window costs $8,000. It's a lightweight RS rear window. The front window is a GT2 Club Sport spec front window. I was talking to the boys at Champion last night. They said the front window can cost up to $25,000. I don't know if that's true, but if that's true, that's insane, bro. You get a rock chip on that, you call Safelite. I don't know what they're gonna tell you, but that's gonna be it's gonna be a shit show. I don't know many cars that are built to this level that you could just fucking take them for a cruise. So the 935 mirrors, you know, this is really cool right here. The roof pillar fillers, so it eliminates wind noise. After like 120 miles an hour, the rain gutters start making a lot of noise. You know, a lot of things that people don't, you know, aren't picking up on, you know, yet, but you know, you'll soon to find out that when you see little things like that, you know, the telltale signs that they're rowdy machines, bro. Like anybody that takes the time to do all of this, it's now your run-of-the-mill outlaw modified 911, you know. In this world, people put coilovers and headers on them and they're like, oh, I got this crazy outlaw. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think you're in for a rude awakening when some like this pulls up to the concourse or, you know, to the PCA, you know, Cars and Coffee, throwing fire out the back and, you know, being driven there like a normal car. You know, this is some you see on a trailer, not driven to the track and driven home, you know.
So we're in the 993 Turbo. This thing sounds magical.
This shit is pure magic.
Honestly, I would have never thought you guys would have took this one out.
The owner said it was cool. We can't really get crazy with it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? But just so you can understand, you know, what a properly dialed in GT2 tribute should feel like.
Absolutely.
It's a 96 Turbo, factory speed yellow, factory slick top, which is pretty rare. So the guy wanted to have a street registerable GT2 Evolution. At the time, building this car cost more than it cost 2 Evolutions to build this car. To convert a VIN numbered car into a race car.
Sure.
To this level, and then you know those cars don't drive on the street the way this car would.
Right.
You know, like,
this one took it further.
Yeah, we're driving the 5th year, 2,000 RPMs, and the car drives like a factory car. Besides all the solid mounts and
It's a little loud. It's a little loud, but that's what you want in something like this. You want the visceral feelings and the sounds, the smells.
Yes, sir. So it takes a lot of money to make these cars make 600 horsepower from the jump, and then to make the car run an endurance race, the amount of cooling and oil system revisions and everything in this car was built by Thurpo, 7 Auto, and then those 3 companies that have touched their hands, and they're basically the best of the best when it comes to air-cooled cars between Japan and the United States. There's not a better air-cooled hot rod, I think, in the world at the moment. And luckily, the new owner in Texas is going to be swinging some heck with this thing. It takes a lot more than just to make horsepower in these cars. To make it reliable for a long distance and make the car drivable is also a whole other task. You know, that's like the ARx 7.
Oh yeah.
It drives so nice. You know, it doesn't feel like you're bucking and going crazy. It just, other than the noises, it drives like a normal car.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I'll show the interior here. It's all business.
Yeah.
I love it.
MoTeC ME100, electric power steering, you know, pit mode, and then all the street car, you know, you got turn signals and lights. You need transmission coolers. Since they're transaxle, you know.
What transmission's in it?
So it's a G64, so these cars are born all-wheel drive, and then they have to make them two-wheel drive to machine, basically.
Perfect name for this. War machine. Listen to that. Oh my dear Lord.
Shit don't rev like a normal air-cooled hot rod.
Like I don't know if you can see my arm my hairs on my arm standing up, because just revving the car like that, it just does, it gives me the butterflies.
Yeah, obviously these cars, you need a transaxle, since it's so big, it requires temp. So these cars, all of these cars that have, you know, aftermarket and upgraded boxes and motors, you know, the oil cooling system on this car is so crazy that it takes so long for the car to warm up, because it maintains cooler temps for so long too. So you can't just jump in these cars and just go fucking step on them.
Exactly.
So we're waiting. We're in the warm up cycle right now. Now we got, let's warm up so we can see exhaust temp and oil temp, and then go to race, practice, give us all the vitals that we need.
Just tipping the throttle.
Just letting it,
This thing is glorious.
letting it smell some boost.
Oh my god. It's got my butterflies going and my heart going.
That's crazy.
Just from those little, oh man, there's nothing like that, bro.
I mean, you drive, you know, 2,500 horse, been in 2,500 horsepower cars, so
But this is special. It's
this is a
different.
whole different ball game, man. Whole different ball game. chassis work, and you know, having got twin TD06 Dominators,
Yo, this thing
it comes on so linear, you know.
And my man, the official name I'm gonna give this car is War Machine.
It's so hard to tell people this is the craziest driving experience, you know, like you tell
really
people, oh, but a 997 makes 1,000, but it's not, it's different, you know, it's a whole different feeling to drive one of these cars that are in a tin can, basically,
yeah,
with, you know, so much technology in old school ways, and it just feels right, you know. Having old school cars with somewhat new technology I think is the best driving experience.
No newer car will give you that feeling.
No.
Period. No newer car will. I've been in thousands of cars. No other car has given me that feeling.
Thank you, bro.
Dude, the owner of this thing.
The owner should be thanking you.
The owner of this thing, that's one lucky dude.
Yeah, bro.
This is a beast.
It'll be a Coda soon, so hopefully it's running down some 992 GT3s and
Hell yeah.
having some fun with them.
Beast, man. Dude, thank you so much.
Of course, bro.
Thank you.
So yeah, next up we got, this is a DP935-3. So this is the third iteration of DP street car.
This thing looks absolutely insane. You gotta give a wider shot here because like the wheel covers and like that whole vibe, man, that's it.
Yeah, so BBS turbofans, cooler brakes, at high speeds when you start hitting the brakes at 150 plus. And you start, you need as much air coming in as you can. A lot of these cars existed here in the States because they just buy the body kit and throw it on. In the States, we don't really have a lot of laws as to what's street legal and what's not, To make these cars in Germany, where this car specifically was built at DP Motorsports, it has to get TÜV tested. So it has to be street legal. It has to, it has to be everything that passes safety and regulations, along with being extremely modified. That in itself costs the cost of a car. The R&D that went into just the wheels, they spent 24 hours on the Nürburgring. 3 drivers went through 3 clutches just to get the wheels TÜV approved. So moving the headlights to this position was a whole other situation in itself, and then just making it safe. At the end of the day, we all like highway racing, whether it's road racing, top end racing, In Germany, they got the Autobahn, there's no rules or regulations of how fast you can drive. So, this is a street registered race car. It's built by the company that designed the 935 and the 962, the 934.5. These are Le Mans winning cars, just with their bodywork alone. They picked up over 20 miles an hour on the Mulsanne straight. So they went from 205, 210 to 230, and upwards of 240 miles an hour at 24 hours at a time. So that's why the Mulsanne straight, I don't know if 24-hour Le Mans, they've had to cut it into 3 sections because the cars were getting too fast. So DP made the first slant nose. So this is before Porsche made a slant nose. It was their idea. They would put about 150 flags on the car, take it to the Nürburgring with multiple CCTV style cameras, and they'd monitor how the flags were working, and they'd kept sculpting the car in order to make the aero work as best as possible. This is before wind tunnels, just straight R&D, just driving the car and really figuring out what works. And going back to the pillars, this is an extremely tedious task right here to get rid of the pillars. So this is such a stupid little thing. It makes the car look like a UFO from here, but you have to weld each tab 1 centimeter across because the roof is 2 parts with the A pillar and B pillar, and the C pillar. So you have to weld 1 part at a time, and you have to let it cool each centimeter. So this takes literally 48 to 72 hours of just the stupidest little shit, They extended the front windshield, so there's no cowl. So you see on that car how it has the mirrors, the windshield wipers on the outside. There is no windshield wipers here. So it's got an extended dash, longer windshield. The hood just goes straight from hood to window. DTM style wiper blade, obviously the most aerodynamic as possible, It's crazy, dude. This is only 450 horsepower, give or take, and it's, it's capable of 200 plus miles an hour and of being an absolute, this is a weapon on the track. And it looks f***ing crazy,
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, this is extremely race-inspired interior. This is called DP Lollipops. This is what they ran in all their race cars. But, a little bit nicer version, obviously. We just drove the car from Daytona to here, so it's a little dirty and full of water bottles and shit. Yeah.
What, 4.5, 5 hour drive?
Brother, it's like, depends how fast you're driving,
Yeah, 240.
Yeah, no, not this shit. I'm not gonna see 240, but no, but you cruise at. The thing is that you actually feel it at 100 miles an hour. You're at 15 to 20% throttle.
Oh, yeah.
Car's not burning anything. You'll get there on half a tank, and that's where you really feel the aerodynamics kick in. Where this is before you can make 1,000 horsepower. You have to make the rest of the car fast before the horsepower was an option. Now you just turn up the boost and it doesn't matter. But it's a milestone to where we got to and where we are today. And I think that it's part of history. To see these cars on the street, bro, they don't make shit like this anymore. This is the most radical cars you can get. And you'll see. I'll show you the other ones. If you want after.
Yeah, I saw a couple more in the front. Let's go take a peek at those.
Yeah, for sure. So this would be a DP1 and this is a DP2. Actually very similar, just bumper style, but similar motor setups, similar drivetrains. They actually are very, very similar. This one's a little bit sportier. So this one has a dogleg roof gearbox. So first gear is down. Second gear is where first gear would be, or sorry, where third gear would be, and third is where fourth gear would be. So when you're road racing, you're not really using first, you know, and the easiest shift selection is third to fourth always. And the older gearboxes, the third gear, you break third gear a lot because the cross, you know, and these are like, this is a school bus.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't like, you know, like a notch, like a C6 or a C7. This is, you're like full arm throw, you know, so if it's not going in, you're eventually gonna wear out the synchro and just blow up the box. So they just made it easier. It's an easier driving pattern for road racing or whatever type of racing you're doing. So these are the wheels I was actually talking about. Those are BBS, magnesium alloys, and with turbofans. So underneath, they're gold. But these are the wheels. These are DP Fuchs, and he, in order to pass, you know, like I said, these are the ones that he spent 24 hours testing, making sure they weren't cracked, because they would take a stock face, and then here we put barrels and we make them wider. There, that you can't just do that. Like you can't just make some shit up, put it on a lathe, you know, weld it and call it a day. There you have to prove that it works. So both of these wheels are original DP Fuchs, which are RSR spec, which are incredibly rare to find and only came on real DPs. So we're just pressed on real cars. A lot of these cars in the United States were just body kits, but they would sell the body kits like by the dozens, and everybody would take a 930 or take like a naturally aspirated version, throw the kit on it and an exhaust and be like, I got a 935, you know, but it wasn't the real deal. This is the real deal. This car was owned by Ernest Krause. He's got 30 years of race history. It was originally ordered for him. Their Matter roll cage was like a factory race cage. You know, even the his and her seats. So they're both tartan, but one's like an old school bucket and one's not.
Oh, so his and hers?
His and hers. That's what we call them. I don't know if, you know.
Oh man, that's too good.
So one of the coolest parts of these cars is what we call the dial of death. So that knob right there with the marker on it is the manual boost controller, literally on
No way.
on your at your hip. Usually it's money signs and, you know, no money signs, because you turn it up and it's, you know, you can start making 1.5 to 2 bar. The car start making 500 horsepower. So the motors are rated from, you know, Roof or DP, whoever was building the motor. The Kremer was 380. You turn that knob until it either blows up or you're being who you're racing. Yeah. So it's the dial of death, you know. And so all of these cars, the 993. That other 935, this, that, they're all called Widowmakers because, you know, having the engine in the rear, you know, when you're taking turns and you lift, the rear end likes to come around you. You know, it's just weight transfer. You know, it's not like a normal engine in the front or a mid-engine. This shit's hanging off the back wheel. So these were called Widowmakers. So people put also like a face with a cross through it, like you're gonna die if you turn it up. So it was the dial of death, or there's a bunch of other names, but that was in factory race cars. So if you notice, they all have it. That was like a telltale sign that the car was, you know, actually tuned by
that's awesome.
the company. Really hard to get that, but yeah, this has like a DP cage, this has a Matter, but they're pretty similar setups. They both have the teardrop mirrors, similar stripe setups. I mean, they're very close, you know, they're very close to being the same, aside from bumpers and just drivetrain little things. Back in the 80s and 90s, there used to be like kind of a cannonball run. They'd run from Miami to Daytona 24 hours. Like, that was the thing. It was a timed run from here to the 24 hour. You know, basically 10 to 15 930s, walkie-talkies, and, you know, mini cannonball action. You can't really run 700 horsepower, you know, those distances, you know? Yeah. You can run 400 to 450. 700, I mean, you're just going to run out of gear, you know? You put it in fourth gear, it's going to hit the limiter 215, how many times? You know, it kind of takes the fun out of, you know, you have to drive the car a little bit harder. And it's safer for the car, it's safer for you. Obviously, those times are long gone. But, you know, it's still cool, you know, how, like I said, just the highway racing in general is just, to me, is very intriguing, you know? For sure. You know?
Give you a shot of this interior here. So there you got reverse where first would be, and first where second would be.
Exactly.
That's too funny, man. Man, what a wild car.
So you see, they turn the clocks, actually, so people were like, oh, why do you turn the clocks like this?
Because you're going to be always at a higher RPM.
Right, well, the point is to shift it at 12 o'clock. So you're not really looking at the time. I mean, at the number.
Yeah.
You just shift it when it's 12. And then you got the digital boost gauge from literally 1979 to the right, you know, which shows.
It's turned. That's funny. So shift at 12. You
Shift at 12.
Like right at around 6 grand.
Yeah. You can shift it higher, but, you know, longevity-wise,
Sure.
the digital boost gauge is something that's...
So
So this lights up?
Yeah, that lights up like boom, 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 like literally like Christmas trees up.
Oh man, it's like one of those old school games with the bulbs.
Yeah, like a pinball machine style.
Yeah, right?
But yeah,
Oh,
man,
that's so cool.
back to the era correct, you know, like you could throw a bunch of new shit at it, but it just doesn't feel the same.
Yeah.
You know, old journal bearing turbos are spool monsters, you know, and they feel right. You know, it matches the time in the car and the way that the car makes power, and makes it fun. It's not crazy fast, but it's.
I'll say these things are quite special, man.
Thank you, bro.